All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our annual business meeting. Thank you very much for joining us. And on behalf of the entire executive committee, we want to say thank you for all that you've done and that you continue to do during this, I would call it crazy season that we're taking part in. There's been a lot of obstacles, obviously, and a lot of people have spread themselves pretty thin to ensure they can help out as signers to get the games covered. And from where I sit, I've heard nothing but great things about the officiating out there and the cooperation and how it's all playing out. So on behalf of the entire executive committee, we thank you for that. We're very proud of what we do. And more importantly, we're proud of you guys for taking the job seriously and making it all work out to the best possible that you could. So thank you very much. So today we have an agenda. Hopefully you had a chance to see that. I did send it out a couple of days ago. It did stay the same after our executive meeting this morning. We reviewed everything from procedural aspects of it, as well as the depth of what we wanted to make sure we covered. So first and foremost, again, I want to say thank you to all of you for what you've done. Like I said, for the beginning of the season till now, we're not over. The season's not over yet. We still have a lot to accomplish. So continue to stay on top of your game, continue to do all the things that you do so well, and continue to make sure you enjoy what you're doing also. At this point in time, I'm going to kick it over to the season updates about the state tournament and the forecast of what's in front of us. And I'm going to hand it over to Tom McCarthy. Tom, as much as I'm a good lip reader, I can't hear you.
There we go. That's more better.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. As most of you are probably aware, the state tournament format has changed this year. There is no more district play. Teams will qualify. The top 32 in each division will qualify for the state tournament, along with any team that has a 500 record or better, at 10-10 or better. They will be allowed in on a play-in system. It's all figured by power ratings that you, in my opinion, need a degree from MIT to figure out how they all work. I do know in football, we had teams that were 6-2 that didn't make the playoffs, but teams that were 4-4 did. No one can figure out how it works except the people involved at the top, but it is what it is. So we move forward. As far as assignments for these games, teams will play, the upper seeds will play home games up until the final four. So those games will be assigned by the assigners for those schools. So take, for instance, if Millbury has a home game on the girls' side, John Palermo will assign the 3 officials to that game. If Wachusett has a home game on the girls' side, I'll assign them. If it's a boys' game, Jimmy Nato will assign them, so on. Some coaches are a little upset by this because in the past, if you had 2 teams from different areas playing, you'd have at least one official from the area of the one school and 2 from the other. That's no longer the case because these games are not going to be, for the most part, say it's Wachusett. It's not going to be Wachusett playing Shrewsbury. It's going to be Wachusett maybe playing Pittsfield or Barnstable. So teams are going to have to travel. I know in the fall in volleyball, there was an instance where I believe it was Hoosick Valley, which is out well west of Springfield, had a game at Nantucket. The Hoosick Valley Booster Club came up with the money to put the girls up in a hotel in Hyannis and pay for the ferry ride over. Nantucket sent a bus to the dock and picked the girls up there and brought them to the school, played the match, gave them pizza for the ride home, and they reversed it and came back and drove back from Hyannis to wherever Hoosick Valley is that day. Total travel time for those kids, well over 10 hours. Okay, so this is what they're facing. And this is what we're looking at. We're going to see teams we've never seen before in these gyms. That's the way it is. When we get to the final 4, there will be a state level assigner. I don't know who that is, except that I know it's not me because no one's asked me to do it. So, and they will get lists from all the assigners across the state of their top officials, and then they will make their selections And those games will be neutral games. So if, say, Algonquin makes the Final Four and they're playing Springfield Central, the officials will be from Eastern Mass, most likely. There'll be officials that neither team has ever seen before. And that'll go through to the state finals as well. And if I'm wrong in any of that, if Jerry Deshays and Mike Cimarano are on and they went through this in the fall with soccer and field hockey, let me know. But that is my understanding of how it's all going to work. I would suggest getting into the book and looking at three-person mechanics, because it's been a while, because we had no state tournament last year. So it's been 2 years since most of us have been asked to work three-person games. So I would suggest getting into the book and checking the mechanics and learning what to do, because we want to be out there refereeing the game, not worrying about where we're supposed to be, where we're supposed to be looking, standing, etc. We want to officiate the game as normally as possible.
If you
Any
have any,
questions?
yeah, you can put the questions in the chat. If you have questions, Ryan McCarthy, if you want to do me a favor, just watch the chat.
I'm on it.
Thank you.
That's what I have. That's what I know.
Thank you, Tommy. We appreciate that. Tommy or anybody else from the executive committee will keep everybody updated if we hear when and if we hear more information. So thank you very much. Moving down the agenda, we'll talk about the annual nominations review. Thank you all for anybody who submitted names for individual seats that were open. As you all know, we had 3 executive board seats that were available, plus the treasurer, secretary treasurer. We did have 1 individual who was nominated, and that individual did decline. Therefore, all incumbents are going to be moved forward, and I'm going to make a nomination here in front of the board that we move forward with all the incumbents that we have and move them into the next round for the next 3 years. If I'm not mistaken, Tommy, is that correct? You got to unmute yourself, Tommy.
You want to put forth a motion to have the secretary cast 1 ballot for the 4 people.
Then
So
I
we
will
don't
put
have to have a
I will put
full-on
forth that
vote.
motion for the secretary to cast 1 ballot. Thank you very much, Tommy.
And I will second that motion.
All in favor from the board. If you are, let's do it this way. If you're not in favor, you may unmute yourself. Hearing crickets, I would say that we can move forward and the motion will stand, that all incumbents will stay on as selected. Thank you. All right. Moving forward, 2021, 2022 annual treasurer's report. I'm going to hand it over to George Valerie. George.
Good morning, everyone. We sent out a copy of the report along with the Zoom meeting link for today, and the balance in January 2021. We had 20,696.97. Credits during the year were 14,715.85. Debits were 15,981.97. Balance as of February 4th of this week. I did receive more checks after that, but this is as of February 4th, which is $19,430.85. The savings balance is $8,275.96. Just a reminder for everyone, dues are due now, which are $125. If you are inactive, the inactive dues are $62.50. And you send the checks payable to IBO Board 26, PO Box 1026, Worcester, Mass. 01613. It is on the website for all the meetings. And if anyone has any questions about the report or anything due with the financial, please ask.
Thank you, George. You can also find the address and all the email correspondence that I send out. So click on any email. It'll tell you who to make the check out to and where to send the check to. So if you have any questions on that, please reach out directly to George. George, we thank you for what you do. Next thing we have Ethics Committee updates. So I don't know if Don's on the call. Don Allery, are you with us? We'll table Don at this point in time. We'll move forward with the rules update. Gus?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. As far as rules go, the only things that have come out recently from the MIAA is about masks and things. We're going to continue to wear masks at our games. What I would say is you have to go by the local area guidelines. I don't think there's any schools out there that are saying you don't have to wear masks right now. So keep our masks on, keep doing what we're doing. I've had a lot of texts this year and phone calls this year with people asking questions, which I think is great. I would say 95% of the time we've been correct in the way we've handled things, which is even better. The 5% of the times that we haven't been correct, the people have been really done a good job of faking their way through it. So nobody would know if they were right or wrong. There's been some confusing things out there. There are some questions out there about technical fouls. Let's make sure that when we do call technical fouls, if we are shooting technicals, we shoot them in the order of occurrence. So if you have a regular free throw being shot and then a technical foul being shot, you would shoot the regular free throw first, then the technical fouls, then you would get the ball opposite the table. As far as technical goes, we did have a question come up about a technical foul before a game. So a kid dunks the basketball and there's a technical foul called. We are going to shoot the 2 shots for the technical foul, and then the offended team, so the team that didn't dunk, or the one that shoots a free throw, is going to start the game off with a throw-in opposite the table. So you have a throw-in opposite the table. You won't start with a jump, and then the other team will gain the arrow. So you would have the throw-in for the technical. When they get the ball, throw it in. Now you set the arrow to go the other way. So hopefully that answers some of those questions. Other than that, some great questions have been coming in, some interesting things. I know we've gone over a few of them in the meetings. Keep working hard. Good luck the rest of the way. Remember, these teams are starting to get a little more intense. And also you've got a few teams that are playing for nothing. And when they are playing for nothing, they think nothing matters. So stay on your toes with crazy stuff happening. Any comments or questions that you have?
Can I add one thing, Gus?
Huh?
Can I add one thing?
You can add something, sure.
Okay, I was shown the other night by an athletic director, I was shown a directive from the MIAA that they are resuming the post-game handshake. Up till this point, at least in my games, the teams have just sort of stood in front of their benches and waved to each other. Now they're back to the receiving line, as it were. The 2 teams lining up and shaking hands. And it said they want us to stay for it. The pleasure of the board is all yours. Doesn't matter to me what we do, but I just thought I'd throw it out there that the MIA, and it was awful nice of them to tell us.
Yeah, well, all right. So as far as a handshake goes, yeah, they are going to start doing that. You have to remember now, the MIAA has let people back in the gym so that they can make money. They get the handshake so that they can look good. For sportsmanship, all this stuff is going to come back because of their big state tournament. They want to look as good as they can during the state tournament. My suggestion is during a handshake, you are as far away from that table as you can possibly be if you are going to stay on the court. I would even be down towards the end of the court you are going to be leaving from, down towards that foul line area. I myself don't want to participate in any handshake. You know, they don't need to come out and fist bump me. When I played, I never liked it anyway. I didn't want to shake anybody's hand after I lost a game or won a game. I might have been a prick, but that's part of my life. So The state board itself hasn't come out with an opinion on this. They're supposed to be. But if you want to stay, stay. If you don't want to stay, feel free to leave until we're given guidelines that we are definitely told to stay. I'll be staying, but it will be, like I say, opposite, and I won't be participating. If they come over to me, I'm just gonna put my hands up and I'm gonna say, thank you very much, but, you know, we're not participating in this. I may look like a idiot doing it, but that's just kind of the way I feel. So I kind of think go by your own judgment in this case.
Any other questions on that? Seeing none, let's move forward if we can. Thank you very much, Gus. Thank you, Tommy, for the question. Next thing we have on the agenda will be the Scholarship Committee update. Charlie Fisher and Lee DePass. I want to just recognize the great work that they do every single year and everybody that helps them out to provide these scholarships. I want to say thank you. Charlie, if you'd like to come on and say a couple of words, now will be your opportunity. I do see you're in the room with us.
All right, am I coming through okay?
Perfectly fine, Charlie. Good morning to you.
We've had 4 people request applications through their parent, and we sent out to everyone. I'm expecting to hear back from maybe 4 or 5 more. I think we're probably going to end up around 8 again this year. I'm going to change the format a little bit for the upcoming years, and I'll send a review out for everybody to take a look at. But I think we need to know in anticipation each year how many potential applicants we may have, so that we can be assured that we have ample funding to cover them before we make our announcement. But that'll take a little bit of doing, but it'll be relatively simple, and we'll be in contact with every member of the board directly. I will, to see what age group this boy or girl in their family or their grandchildren are, so that we'll have a heads up at the beginning of the season as to what the anticipation would be. And other than that, it's amazingly, I would say, went off relatively smoothly. So we're happy with that. And we are not requiring, if you read the piece that we sent out, we're not requiring the schools to participate with all the information about standings and all of that, because we felt it was maybe a little bit of an undue burden on them, since some of them weren't even open at the time. So we waived that, and that definitely does not cause any problems. I mean, you know, it's not the top of the class and the bottom. It's just like being a doctor, you know, if you graduate, you graduate. And so we don't need to have anybody feeling that they get left out because their grades weren't exemplary. So we're ready for it, and looking forward to it.
Charlie, thank you very much for the great work as always. And it's, you know, it's very much appreciated by a lot of people. So between you and Lee, thank you again on behalf of the executive board. The next thing we have is Assigner's Corner. Any assigner would like to speak in any order this morning, please feel free to.
Real quick, speaking only for myself, between Wednesday and Friday last week, I had well over 20 schedule changes. People lost games, people gained games. We would ask that you check your email regularly, more than once a day, because the changes come through by email and new games come through by email. And usually the schedule changes only a day or two. So we need to know if these games are going to be covered. Fortunately, to this point, I have only had one game that I had to tell an athletic director I don't have officials for. But, you know, we need to know ASAP if you can do the game, because we have to move on. It's such a fluid season. I've never seen anything like it. We got through COVID pretty much, and then the weather hit. So please bear with us and just check your email regularly. Make sure you're accepting or declining games promptly. Be greatly appreciated by all the assigners.
Thank you, Tommy. Any other assigners here who'd like to speak?
Yeah, Dean, can you hear me?
Sure can, John.
Just to elaborate a little bit on what Tommy said, yeah, please be diligent that the changes are coming. Like moment after moment, especially even in lieu of the fact we just had the snowstorm this Friday and the ice and so forth. So all those games are going to be tried to be made up in a short span of time. But more importantly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I've never seen anything like it in the past, but what our board has done has been incredible. The willingness, and I stress that word, the willingness of all members to assist has been phenomenal. I think there have been like only a couple of people that have turned some things back in regards to wanting to work multiple games on a given day. So many people are working afternoon doubleheaders and then going out and doing other contests later on in the evening. This is, really unbelievable. I can't say thank you enough to everybody for your support, assistance, and help throughout this particular season. And I really, really do appreciate it. Let's continue to, work hard, stay safe, stay healthy. More importantly, enjoy yourselves, and don't forget to spend some quality time with your family if you can find some. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any other signers like to speak at this point in time? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Closing out the season and looking ahead. One of the greatest things about this executive board is that we often talk about tomorrow and what the vision of the board can look like. And we're really making some strides and doing some different things, which I find really exciting. I think it's needed. And I think these are things that we think are going to rejuvenate and just add a little zest to what we're all about. So I'm going to turn it over to Dave Bellantoni that will talk a little bit about the direction we're heading.
Good morning, everyone. On that note, the year-end banquet, for those of us who have attended the banquet over the years, the attendance has been declining. And for whatever reason, I'm sure everybody has their reasons. We're tired at the end of the season. Some people just want to be done. But that's either here nor there. So it has been proposed that instead of having a year-end banquet, that we move in a different direction and have a beginning of the season kickoff event where we get together late summer in probably a more casual setting. After being away for a while, it'll be great to see everybody prepare for the new season, talk about the season ahead instead of talking about the season's end. We think that this would be a fresh start and an exciting way to kick off the season. So that's what we're thinking. The logistics of it will be worked out over the next coming months, and we'll have more coming forward. But I think it's a good idea, and I think that's where we're going to head. Dean, you have?
No, thank you, Dave. Very, very good. Appreciate it. And again, change sometimes isn't always easy. Sometimes when we step out of the comfort zone of doing things we've always done before, we question why. But I will tell you this, I'm very excited about the possibility of everybody coming together to kick off a season and really jumpstart and try to attract some new blood. And more importantly, set the seeds for, just like a real good kickoff. So I do want to appreciate the work of the executive committee in that capacity to be able to think by what we used to do and start thinking about tomorrow. And I think it's important that we all do that once in a while. At this point in time, I'm going to open up to membership voice. If anybody on this call has something they want to add, this is the time to hear your voice. And more importantly, to just throw some stuff out there if you need us to think about things or hear you.
Dean, it's Kevin.
Hi,
Can
Kevin.
I ask a question, please?
You sure can.
It seems that gym to gym, coach to coach, there's different attitudes about masks. The only reason we are playing is because of masks, and you cannot see a picture in the paper with masks being worn as chin straps. So my question is, what is the board's position on requiring players to mask up?
It's a very good question, Kevin. I'm going to kick that over to Dave.
Yeah, so what we were directed at the beginning of the season was we are not, as officials, and this was directed by the MIAA, we are not as officials the mask police. I agree with you 100%, Kevin. It looks real bad when there are pictures in the paper and they're playing them as chin straps. The only suggestions I would make at this point is during a timeout or during a delayed portion of the game, you address it directly with the coaches and almost propose it the exact same way you just did to them. Now, I understand in a heated portion of the game, you can't do that. But the problem is if you say, hey, 52, put your mask on correctly, he's going to turn around and say, well, what about him, and him? So maybe during a dead ball, free throws, we can say, hey, guys, let's make sure our masks are on correct. Or hey, ladies or players, let's make sure our masks are on correctly. What we don't want to have happen is we don't want to have a picture of an official in the paper with their mask on incorrectly. That's one thing we definitely don't want to have, is have one of us be the culprit in the paper. It's hard to, you start policing it, there's no guidelines for us to have a player removed from the game for improper mask wearing at this point. So I don't think we can really go there, as much as some of us may like to. But it's a tough situation. It's supposed to be policed by the coaches and their staff. I don't know if that answers the question or how we want to handle it.
No, it does. I mean, early in the year, I was under the impression we won them a couple times and then do send them to the bench, and that seems to have changed during the year. But I understand correctly, in a 1-point game with 4 seconds left, we are not about to send a player without a mask to the bench.
Right.
So common sense prevails. Do the best that we can. If I'm the referee, I ask the captains for their help. That the only way we're playing is because of masks, and so far it's been okay. But as I said, you can't pick up a picture in the newspaper without anybody having masks on except the officials. So that helps, Gus. Thanks.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Kevin, for the question. We have a couple of questions in the chat that I'll just go through right now. One question: any thoughts to a new candidate's exam late spring?
So there is a test available in March that they give each year. We haven't done it in the past. It may be something that we need to start looking towards. The other thing is they have IBO University, it's called, which is online classes. And the classes themselves are all done online. There's a set time frame that they do it. It runs for about 6 weeks. You take the test online, the class online, there's help. However, you would still have to go through Board 26, floor training, and what we give that way. You just can't take the test and get thrown out on the court. You still have to go through the provisional things and the floor training. So that is starting to come into play a little bit. I know IBO, the IBO newsletter that we just got was talking about the IBO University and that kicking in. If there is interest in that, if somebody does have somebody that's interested in, you know, taking the classes, like I say, we start them right after Labor Day. They run for about 7 weeks, and the test is in November. But we can start to look into that other test if we have enough interest in it. I mean, I'm certainly willing to get involved in that.
Thank you, Gus. Appreciate
Sure.
that. Next question that we have, is there anything that a new / aspiring ref should do throughout the year if they want to move up to varsity and hopefully to the collegiate level? So the answer there is be watching out for any camp information. We provide that from any of the collegiate assigners that are out there. I'll make sure I add that to all of our email correspondence. You know, the biggest thing that I can say is truly work on understanding the rules and how to apply them to the game, and more importantly, really work on your mechanics. If you can manage a game and you have great mechanics, you're going to be noticed very quickly, and obviously you begin to ascend pretty quickly as well. But you can go as far as you want in this vocation, where you can enjoy it to the level that you want to. So I think it's just a great opportunity for anybody who wants to move forward. And again, if you do use it as a hobby, it's not a bad thing too. Anything you want to add, Gus, Tommy, or anybody from the executive board or signers?
Yeah, this is Gus. I know this, I believe this person has reached out to me, and I really hadn't gotten back to him yet because I was trying to find out a little bit on the college information side still. I will reach out to this person and let them know, because I have found a few things here or there. We'll put something in our newsletter, maybe as to when some of these college things are happening. We do have to remember that we have a provisional status before we can work varsity. There can be exceptions made to that in the past because of the lack of officials that we have. If we feel somebody is qualified and won't get themselves in trouble out there, we have moved them up and whatnot that way. As far as moving up the varsity, you just have to look to see what other people are doing and work that much harder than the other guy. You will get recognized if you're ready. I do have a concern or a question. When people send me a text, can they just say, "Hi, this is so-and-so" at the beginning of the text? Because I don't have everybody's phone number from the board in my favorites, so I don't always get the names correct. I was talking to somebody the other night for about 20 minutes before I finally realized who I was talking to, which is a shame on me, but so just kind of throw your names in there before that. So a lot of people do, so thanks.
Thank you, Gus. Appreciate it. All right. I don't think we have anything else on the working agenda, so I just want to take this opportunity to really recognize and thank the members of the executive committee for all that they do. There is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm proud to work with these guys. They do a really good job, and the way that they think and the way that we're evolving is a really nice thing to see and watch. And you know what, and to be part of a board like this is a great thing as well, because not only is it a good way to stay in shape, it's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to just expand your capacity personally and professionally. So thank you for all that you do. I do want to remind you that I'm going to take down the sign-in portion on the agenda at the end of this meeting. So the only way you're going to get credit is if you sign in while you're here. So I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity to receive the credit. I get human behavior. Sometimes they can sign in a little bit late, and I don't really want that, because I do think that it's important to make these types of meetings because it's great to hear directly what's going on. And that's how we become stronger as a board overall. So again, we want to thank all of you. At this point in time, I am going to allow the meeting to end. We're going to stop the recording, and what we're going to do is we'll stay on as an executive board if you want to stay on and talk to us. It's great to see some faces that I haven't seen in a while. I know Max McCarthy was on early. I don't know if Max is still on right now. I had some correspondence back and forth with him. I see Frankie DeSantis is here. Great to see you. I can't see everybody, but this is just a great time to see some faces and everybody come together. So I want to say thank you. You're welcome to stay on if you wish. I am going to stop the recording at this point in time. We hope you all have a great rest of the season and stay healthy and enjoy what you do because it will show in every aspect of who you are. All right, and I'm going to end the recording now.